whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people. Whose car are we going to take?
Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show at our new morning time. I'm going to keep reminding you guys about it. Probably this week, and then I think you guys pretty much got it, right? I love Ricky. Cocoa, caffeine, and cannabis. Is that how you're starting your day, Ricky? I absolutely love it. We have a great show. Obviously, I think it's around noon, 12:30. Former President Trump will be indicted again. Yes, again. I have a couple of clips. Bill Barr talking, Michael Cohen talking, Kim. I mean, it's like Groundhog's Day with this guy, you know? And he wants to move the venue. He says he can't get a fair trial. You're the former president. I don't know how you can make the argument in any way, shape, or form that people haven't been following the case. So I'm really interested to see that. So we'll talk about that. Kim is here. Good morning, my friend. Thank you for filling in for me. Yes, yeah. Yesterday while I was up at KCBS, you know, we do this show in the morning, and I was like, oh, that's an adjustment. Jesus Louise, waking up really early to do it up there that is quite a day. But
what time did you have to be there?
I have to be there at freaking 6 o'clock in the morning, which means I have to leave my house at 5 o'clock in the morning, which means I have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, that's an early one. It's
not as early as if I did the morning drive. I do the mid-morning shift. I did the mid-morning shift yesterday. Yeah, if I do the morning drive, I am up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Oof. It is unnatural. It is unnatural to wake up that early in the morning. So I'm loving this. Like, this is way better. Believe me, I'm not complaining about moving this show to the morning with this time. That totally works. We have a great guest on today. She's actually back. Kim, you'll remember the Wisconsin teacher from Waukesha, Wisconsin, who was being reprimanded by the school district because she wanted her kindergartners to sing Rainbowland by Dolly Parton. Well, we have an update. She'll be joining us in about a half hour or so. I'll let you just guess what happened to the poor woman. So we're going to talk about that. Jefferson Graham is also back from his month-long road trip.
Well, that's
cool. He has amazing photos. You know, and if I have time, because I want to go over his trip and all the pictures he chose. And I don't know if you know this, but has Jefferson Graham ever photographed weddings?
I don't know.
Because there's this woman that's gone viral on TikTok for the most awful wedding photos ever.
Oh no.
And so I kind of want to show him and be like, is this even a professional photographer? So I might have to bring him in on that while he's with us, because they were really bad. And I was thinking partly like, well, you know, maybe you just don't take good photos, but they were blurry, they were cropped weird, and so
what a disappointment! If you paid for that,
$3,000.
Oh yeah, no,
$3,000. So yeah, that's a lot of money. All right, and then what else are we going to be talking about? So we'll talk to Jefferson Graham. That'll be in the second part of the show. Did you hear that you can spend the night, Kim, with Gwyneth Paltrow? Did you talk about this already?
We haven't talked about it, but I did read that. But there's no, they don't say how. Like, how is she going to pick the person,
I have all
right?
the details for you.
Oh,
I have all of the details. So that's also coming up. All right, before we get to any of that and Kim's news, you guys know what to do. Click the thumbs up button to show your support of the show. I have to remind people, just click it once. It's not like if you go over and over and over, YouTube loves it more. They just love it once. Do it every single show. Even if you're watching it on replay, it works. The super chat is also live. And look who is first to give us a super sticker, Kim.
Harry. Nice.
Thank you so much, Harry. So yeah, Harry knows what to do. You should be just like Harry. And click the dollar sign. Click the dollar sign, and that's the super chat. And you can donate any amount, a super comment. And if you're live, I'll read your comment and I'll react to it or what have you. Super thanks. All those sorts of things are right there. Please become a Medorable. Become an official Medorable. I am working on some sort of design for it. I took advantage of someone had said, put it in AI and see what they come up with. Didn't work for me, so I got to tweak with it. But I am working on something. But if you want to be part of the cool club, become a Medorable. There is no kind of rules regarding how much per month you give to the show as your monthly donation. Obviously, if you can give $20 a month, that would be awesome. But whatever you can afford, even more than $20, I'm not going to limit you. Just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. thenikkimedoroshow.com. Our Patreon link is there. Also, PayPal is another great way to donate to the show. thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com is the email address. That's also the email address to reach me. So I appreciate everyone that reaches out that way. And then, of course, there is merch, which I will be putting Medorable stuff on. Just go to the nikkimedoroshop.com. And that's the best way to support the show as well. All right. So let's get into Trump. Or actually, let's do some headlines. Trump is probably because this is a big day. I feel like, again, it is deja vu, but here is Kim with the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Well, we have to start with former President Trump because today is the day that he will be facing charges related to his alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. In announcing the indictment this week, Special Counsel Jack Smith said his office is ready to have all of the evidence tested in a court of law. The 45-page indictment alleges Trump was determined to remain in power despite being aware that he had lost the election. He will face charges in court this afternoon.
Let me and I'm just gonna pause your because I want to do these while you do your news. I should have given you a heads up that I was going to.
No, that's cool.
This. Okay, great. I want to play you this, and now this is, of course, former Attorney General Bill Barr, and he's talking about, first off, he was, mentioning, well, I don't know if I would really bring this case because of the division or whatever. But then Caitlin Collins with CNN was asking, but is there a case here? And so this is what Bill Barr had to say. And I think that it's important because this is a Trump guy, right? This is a Trump guy. And this is him talking. So let me share my screen with you really quickly. Again, this is Bill Barr being asked by Caitlin Collins if this is really a case.
But as a legal matter, I don't see a problem with the indictment. I think that it's not an abuse. The Department of Justice is not acting to weaponize the department by proceeding against the president for a conspiracy to subvert the electoral process.
Which is what Trump's attorneys are saying. And they're also saying that he was just exercising his First Amendment right here. Do you think that's a valid argument in your view?
No, I really don't think that's a valid argument because, as the indictment says, they're not attacking his First Amendment right. He can say whatever he wants. He can even lie. He can even tell people that the election was stolen when he knew better. But that does not protect you from entering into a conspiracy. All conspiracies involve speech, and all fraud involves speech. So, free speech doesn't give you the right to engage in a fraudulent conspiracy.
There you go, people. Trump's own guy, Bill Barr, explaining it in the best way I have heard so far.
My, how the tide has turned for Bill Barr. Yeah.
Well, I also think he knows history, right? Is being written right now. And it's like, who are you, man? Who are you?
What's interesting is he also said, well, you heard him say there, that Donald Trump knew he lost the 2020 presidential election. He knew he lost it. That's key. He also said in this interview with CNN that he thinks Special Counsel Jack Smith has a lot more evidence against the president. A lot more.
And you know what? Here's my question to you, Kim, though, about that Trump knew, because this is what I was thinking about yesterday when they were coming out with this. It's like, but did he believe that the election had been stolen? And I'm like, if you're going to prove that this man believed in the lie, even though people were telling him, then he is not mentally there, right? I mean, he lives in Never Never Land. You're telling me that someone that does not have a grasp on reality and truth admits it. He's like, yes, I know that everyone was telling me that I lost. I'm choosing to believe that I won. That's cuckoo, right? Like, no, man, you can't be president then, because when we tell you things and you don't like it, you're going to make up some fantastical story in your mind. I don't want someone like that in the White House.
Well, my thinking is this: if there, and as the indictment alleges, right, there was a scheme to a plot to put in fake electors.
Right.
There was a plot to have Pence, delay or cause confusion or whatever. You don't do all these things if you don't realize you lost.
Right.
If you think you won, why would you need to plan all this?
Right. Exactly. And then it's who's that mystery co-conspirator, remember? So,
Mhm.
Rudy Giuliani, all these people are mentioned. I want to play one more clip and then I'll let you go back to your news. This
No,
is
go
Michael
ahead.
Cohen. This is Michael Cohen. Listen what he has to say on CNN.
I think the more important thing in this indictment to look at are not who the 6 co-conspirators are, but rather who is missing from this indictment. Like, for example, you don't see any mention of Mark Meadows. You see nothing of Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner was the secretary of everything. How is it possible that he is not listed here? He was there. He was on Donald's lap the entire time from the day Donald entered the White House to the day that he left.
So how do you explain it?
I believe he's probably a cooperating witness.
Jared Kushner, that's interesting because people have pointed out that Mark Meadows is conspicuously absent, from the indictment. But Jared Kushner is his son-in-law. You think that his son-in-law would cooperate against Donald Trump?
Oh, in a heartbeat. Do you think Jared is any different than Donald? Do you think that Donald wouldn't throw Jared under the bus in order to save himself? The answer is an emphatic yes.
And you think the same is true of Mark Meadows?
Absolutely. Look, that's the one thing that Bill Barr said that I totally agree with, that Donald doesn't care about anyone or anything other than himself. He's a one-way street. And
there you go. There you go. So wouldn't that be crazy? Can you imagine? This is just drama. I can't wait till we're so far removed from this that we can laugh at it instead of cry.
I think it'll be a long time for me. This is this is pretty serious stuff.
Exactly.
Let's go though to Hunter Biden's former business partner.
Oh, yes.
He says Hunter used his father's very powerful name to secure foreign business deals.
Shocking.
The House Oversight Committee released a transcript of Devin Archer's testimony. Archer telling lawmakers then Vice President Joe Biden was the brand that Hunter pitched to foreign partners that offered capabilities and reach in Washington, D.C. So, Hunter Biden, he alleges, used his father's name. No connection, though, to President Biden being involved in any of this. I feel that's really important because people will say otherwise, but they don't have any proof.
Well, the thing that I don't understand is everybody knows what it means to have a name like Trump, Biden, Clinton,
Bush,
when you're part of Bush, when you're part of powerful families. Are you telling me, public, that Hunter Biden, who obviously has issues, is not going to pull the one obvious lever in his life to give him any sort of leverage? Of course he is. The problem with which you have to prove, and if you have the proof, then show it, is that President Biden was involved in it. Answering your own child's phone call is not proof, in my opinion. To some people it is. But it's just Hunter calling his dad. That is not proof. But I'll let it go. And again, if you prove it, more power to you. I'm glad that we got a corrupt person out of the White House. See how I can do that? Let's do that.
This guy was supposed to be the star witness. He was supposed to be the smoking gun. No.
Nope, not exactly.
No. Heat wave. This summer's been a doozy.
I know.
65 million Americans dealing with dangerous heat across the South again. The heat index expected to go above 110 in major cities in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Kansas. The heat dome then makes its way west to California and Arizona, where Phoenix could reach upwards of 115 degrees.
It's miserable. I don't know. I was in this. So I'm part of this Facebook group, Kim, called Texas is Not Okay. And it's just a bunch of memes about Texas. I don't know why I'm part of it, but I am. And, but they're constantly talking about the heat right now. That is all anybody talks about. Someone was asking about, I think they were going to move from New Hampshire to Texas. And they're like, if you want to live in the devil's mouth and knock yourself out, it is so freaking hot out here right now.
Devil's mouth. That's
exactly.
funny.
It was the best line ever. It's so hot.
Well, despite the heat, people are working their hardest. U.S. worker productivity is on a comeback. According to economists polled by Reuters, second quarter non-farm productivity jumped 3.7%. Analysts say it's good news for employers in terms of labor costs and another sign that inflation is beginning to ease.
Nice.
Well, people are doing their very best to make everything happen. Look at that. In San Francisco, the iconic cable car is marking an historic milestone. It was a ceremony held Wednesday in downtown San Francisco, marking the 150th year of operation for the cable car in San Francisco. The cars first started out in about 1873 as a unique way to get around hilly streets. In the 80s, Mayor Dianne Feinstein raised about $60 million to upgrade the fleet of cable cars that now cross the city.
I love
Happy
the cable.
birthday,
I mean,
cable
I
car.
think I've
Yeah.
ridden on the cable cars maybe a handful of times. It is really fun though. I mean, it's iconic San Francisco.
Have you ever used them for transportation, or have you just used them as this is a fun touristy thing to do? Let's do that.
Well, I mean, we were like being tourists in San Francisco at the
Mhm.
time, but yeah, we needed to get somewhere, and it was literally the cheapest way of going. It was
Oh,
cheaper
okay.
than like where we were going and where we were at. It was the cheapest thing. I was shocked actually. I thought it was going to be expensive, but it wasn't.
So I've used, when I lived in the city, I've used them for transportation, but I've never been like one of those hardcore city dwellers that you
Yeah.
see runs up and just hops on and hangs off the edge. Yeah,
I
no.
would fall flat on my face, so I would not do that. I'm coordinated in some instances, hopping on something that's moving.
Not so
Not
much.
gonna happen. Not so much. No.
I do love the bell ringing contest they have
Yeah,
every year.
that's always fun.
Ding,
You know,
ding, ding, ding,
funny
ding, 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 ding.
story. When I was doing my college internship, I did it at KGO Radio, and that
Ah.
was and I was in the promotions, even though I was a broadcast journalism. They just stuck me in promotions to do stuff, right? And they finally let me out with a reporter, and I forget. I want to say it might have been Mary Ellen Geist. I
Oh,
forget who I
cool.
was
She's
with.
awesome.
Yeah, I forget who I was with, but she had to cover the bell ringing competition, and that was the only thing that I did reporter wise on my entire college internship at KGO. But it was fun anyway.
My first story I went out on KGO was well, there's two big ones. One was the finishing of Rincon Tower,
Ooh,
and it was at that time the tallest building west of the Mississippi.
nice.
And there was an earthquake, and there
Oop.
was no one else to send, and so they took me from my overnight shift doing news, and they said, you're going to go out, we're sending you out.
Wow.
And so I went out as a reporter, and that was in 2002, I think. That was my first reporting. And I went out there and I stood on the top of this building and talked about the earthquake. But my first big story was the tiger attack at the San Francisco Zoo.
Ooh,
sent me
that's a
out, yeah.
good one.
Yeah, yeah.
You must have been, I mean, the 2002, you said 2000. Well, we might have been around the same time together.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
a little bit before. 2001 is probably maybe 2000 is when I did my internship at KGO. But yeah, how funny. How funny.
Yeah, there you go. Memories.
Exactly.
Temecula Valley School District. Well,
Are they going to use the textbooks?
they're getting sued. They're getting sued for their ban on critical race theory now.
Oh,
So the
jeez.
ban was approved by the district's board's conservative majority last December. The same school board also refused to buy textbooks featuring information about late gay rights leader Harvey Milk. The lawsuit was filed by a nonprofit group called Public Counsel on behalf of parents, students, and teachers. It says a ban on critical race theory is censoring teachers and infringes on students' fundamental right to an education.
Sweet. Well, keep
It's
up the
going to
fight.
be
people.
it'll be an interesting case. I mean, I think it'll maybe precedent setting.
I mean, I think that we just need to stop with the idea that looking back at history is going to hurt your feelings. It's just ridiculous, you know? And I think that if you're going to protest something, you should have to take the class first. If you're going to protest against something not being taught or a book not being read, you have to physically do what you're protesting against. Or you're speaking out your butthole. So there you go.
Well, I don't want to speak out that, but it does infringe on a right to an education, because if you're not being told the truth,
yeah,
right? If you're being fed as Craig told me yesterday, spoonfuls of BS,
exactly.
Then that's right. Then your right to an education is being infringed upon. So,
yeah,
I don't know. All right, Meta. Meta has begun now to block news sources in Canada in response to this bill requiring the tech giant and others to pay for content. Canadian Facebook and Instagram users are seeing gaps in their feeds. Google has publicly declared it will follow suit. So no media, no news on Facebook or Instagram or what have you in Canada. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I mean, would you...
Because they have to pay for it. It's too cheap to pay for the content. You don't get the content.
You should have to. I feel like we need to support, especially, I mean, I feel, spoiled because we live in the Bay Area. We have so many, even though they're like bare bones, right? They're cutting. But imagine being, in a really, really small town area where you're getting your news and you wonder why there's such a disconnect between realities and truth. Because if you could be the sole news source for certain parts of this country, and you're spewing only one opinion, then of course people are going to think that that's the truth. And that's what's dangerous.
Apple, they have a card interest-bearing savings account now. I don't know if you knew about this, but they've reached I guess you could call it a milestone of their own. They have now $10 billion in deposits with a B, 10 billion. The high yield account offered by Goldman Sachs was launched in April. It offers an annual percentage yield of 4.15%. Wow. So I guess a lot of people have put their money into the Apple Card's interest-bearing savings account. So
I have not.
I have not either. I have not done this.
Sorry.
Perhaps I'm remiss. I don't know. And Lizzo.
I know the story is so upsetting to me for some reason, but it is.
So she's now kind of coming back out and responding to all the allegations against her. She says there is nothing to the accusations that she sexually harassed her backup dancers and created a hostile work environment. The singer put out a statement today calling the allegations revealed in a recent lawsuit unbelievable and too outrageous not to be addressed. The suit alleges that Lizzo pressured the dancers to touch naked performers during a night out in Amsterdam. It also claims that she called attention to one or more of the dancers' weight gain. Lizzo insists she has high standards and has to make hard decisions, but never intentionally makes people not feel valued as part of her team. She also said she knows what it's like to be body shamed, and she would never criticize or terminate an employee because of their weight. So, lawsuit going, but I was reading that I guess Beyonce, when she sings a certain song, usually calls out some names of people to respect, and Lizzo is one of them. Well, Beyonce is starting her big tour, and last night she omitted Lizzo's name.
Yeah, she said Erykah Badu instead, I heard. And so that's going to be interesting. That's a concert I'm going to later.
Are you?
Yeah, we got Beyonce tickets a long time ago. So, I mean, we're in the nosebleeds. Don't think that I'm going to be down on the floor voguing with everybody. But yeah, my husband and I are going to go see Beyonce.
And that's what, at Chase Center in San Francisco?
Is it? I thought it was at Levi's.
Oh,
no, I think
okay.
it's at Levi. Maybe it is at the Chase Center. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah. And we'll also be talking about this morning, California Lieutenant Governor asking Taylor Swift to postpone her LA shows, which start today.
Is she going to do it, you think?
No.
I mean, why do you think she gave out all those bonuses ahead of the Santa Clara show? Wouldn't she have waited till the last show, till she was really wrapping up the tour to hand out the bonuses?
Oh, no, I think she was just giving him because she's being really generous and she's about to leave the country. Absolutely. She's not going to postpone these LA shows. And she does. Wow. Do you know how upset people are going to be?
Well, you think about think about all the people, and we saw it in Santa Clara, who traveled from places, who booked all the hotel rooms.
Exactly.
So people would be out plane fares, people would be out hotel rooms. I mean, it's more than just the disappointment of not being able to go see the show, right?
Yeah.
It's the disappointment of losing financially what you've put in to try to see the show. So I
Exactly.
think she knows that her fans have forked over money to see her, and I don't think she'll do that.
Well, and she's also leaving the country. This is the last leg. You know what I mean? Like, she's not coming back. Although I just found out that next year she is coming. She's added some other American stops on her tour, which I knew that she would do. I mean, because there weren't that many. I think there was only 20 cities that she did on this leg. And she's going to be in New Orleans on my birthday. So I've been wanting to go back to New Orleans. I've only been there once. I've been wanting to go back so much. So I told my husband, and he said that I could try. So we'll see.
Okay. Well,
We'll see,
hopefully
we'll
you get
see.
it. That's going to be
I know.
awesome.
Yeah.
SF SF Bay Playway
Yes.
has a super chat.
Thank you.
They talking about law sucks for its imperfect, sincerely a victim. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that when we're talking about, whether it's, former President Donald Trump, whether it's, and again, in a few minutes, we're going to be speaking with a teacher in Wisconsin who feels like she was exercising her First Amendment right in pushing back against a school district that did not want to sing didn't want their kids singing a Dolly Parton song. And it's one of these things where you have to make the law work for you, but there's always these gray areas. But thank you, SF Bay Playway, for not only the $10 donation, but I see here you also made a $5 super sticker donation. Thank you, you guys. That is so generous. I really, Kim and I, we just appreciate it so very much.
Yeah, and I will say that this show is crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you. So in addition to the super chat being live, you can find us online at thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. That's where the Patreon link is. That's where the PayPal link is. And we thank you. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you. Yeah, I am upset about the Lizzo thing. I swear to God. It's one of those things where you feel like, I know we don't know these people. You know what I mean? Like, I know that we don't know these people. They're celebrities. We watch interviews, and that's fine. But you expect something from certain people if they keep talking about, life and issues. And, whenever Lizzo, I'm speaking about, receives awards, she talks about that, about body positivity, not being so negative because she's gotten so much hate and all those sorts of things. And so it's conflicting. You don't know what to believe. You want to believe Lizzo, but at the same time, these are women that also should be heard and listened to. And just because you like somebody, that's the danger, is if you like somebody so much that you can't see possibly some problems. On the other hand, let's let this play out and see what happens.
It's always disappointing, though, when you feel like a celebrity is genuine, right? Like Ellen.
Yes.
Nice, funny, dancing.
Perfect example. Yes.
Right? And then Ellen, it turns out, according to people that work for her, is not the nicest person you would ever want to meet. Don't talk to me. You're not allowed to look at Ellen. You're not allowed to talk to Ellen, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But when someone casts doubt about who that person really is, and you feel like they've let you in to who they are, and that they're probably the same. I don't know. We've worked with some big personalities and egos, and
absolutely,
most often they're the same way they are on the air as off the air, right? I think we both are the same people.
Oh, I'm totally the same person on and off the air. You know that.
And so am I. It's like,
I don't have enough brain space to be anybody different,
Well, I don't have enough, I don't know, skill to be that good of an actress to be like, I am this person, but off the, once the mic clicks off, I know I'm actually this person.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I mean,
what a disappointment.
It is a disappointment, but again, we should let it play out, because you don't want to, make a judgment on somebody if they haven't done it, what they're being accused of doing. I'm seeing in the comments some people wondering about, why would Taylor Swift postpone her show? And the reason why she would postpone her show is because there's a hotel workers strike going on. And the hotel workers would like her to postpone her show because they say hotels are raking in the money, and none of that money is trickling down to them. And we're talking about thousands of hotel workers in Los Angeles and Orange County.
The housekeeping staff, none of those people are seeing the money. And even government officials as high up as Lieutenant Governor of California, Eleni Kounalakis, have asked Taylor Swift to cancel or postpone her dates in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. I think she's got 4 Los Angeles dates. It was only 2 in the Bay Area. Oh, is it 6?
It's 6.
Wow.
It starts today. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. Because I remember I was looking there as well because my daughter was obsessed, obviously. But yeah, so Kounalakis, the lieutenant governor, says, your shows make our region hotels a lot of money. In Los Angeles, hotels are doubling and tripling what they charge because you're coming. This is to Taylor Swift. The hotels are making more money than ever, but many workers cannot afford to live close to where they work. Some of them even sleep in their cars between shifts. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think it's fair that it's Taylor Swift that has to kind of carry this burden a bit? Because I do think, like, you know what? How about you guys deal with this since you're making so much money? Because look, if she postpones these trips, one, you've upset so many people that have already made plans. Her first show is tonight. And I don't think it's fair if she doesn't cancel them to be like, well, look, Taylor Swift says she's, a supporter of the people, blah, 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 and she doesn't cancel her shows. Give me a break.
Or if she does 2 and cancels the next 4, that's not fair either.
Well, exactly. And so I just feel like the hotels themselves should be the ones working with the hotel workers. I understand, you know what I would do? I mean, if the hotel workers are striking, rally everybody at that hotel. That will make more of it. You have all these people coming into a hotel and there's no room service. There's no, you know what I mean? There's none of the services that people expect when they go to a hotel. That will make an impact. Don't put it on Taylor Swift. And I know I'm probably defending someone that does not need to be defended. But yeah, Luis writes, T Swift is not postponing 6 shows, thousands of fans impacted. Sorry, hotel workers. It's a safe move for politicians to call for postponement when they know it will never happen. That's true.
It's true. And I don't feel like it should fall on her shoulders. Like now that, she doesn't cancel her concerts or postpone them, that she becomes some type of a union line breaker or, not a friend of the unions. That's not fair to her either. I was last year, when was it? Spring break of the last school year. We went to Monterey for a couple of days.
Right.
And I was at, I stayed at a fancy place, and there was for the first time, I saw the little card that talks about leaving a tip for your housekeeping staff.
Oh, yeah.
They had a Venmo. So you could just Venmo the person who's taking care of the room.
That is
really
so
is
smart.
Because sometimes you don't have a cash, you don't know where to leave it, so they're going to find it in a way.
Yes.
How many people are taking care of your room, you don't know. So they leave a little card that says, whatever the person's name is taking care of your room. You can Venmo him, her at whatever address. And so maybe it's a case of, if you feel like you book the room and you feel like you want to support the union workers, even though it really should be the job of the hotels to pay them a fair wage, then maybe it's a good moment to up your Venmo donation to your hotel staff,
there you
to your
go.
housekeeper.
Lori was saying the same thing. Taylor could encourage her minions to leave a proper tip for their housekeeper. Absolutely. But again, if they're, correct me if I'm wrong, if they're on strike, who's working? Just scabs? Are they bringing in outside services? Because then you're tipping the people that are crossing the picket lines. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's a hard one. So I don't know. Like, it's complicated. But again, just to put a final point on this, the hotels are the ones that should be feeling the pain.
That's true.
Not Taylor Swift. And I understand the effort. I understand why they chose her because of all the money that's going into these hotels, but it's not her. It's misdirected, in my opinion. It's absolutely misdirected. Okay, so I want to switch gears now. You guys will remember months ago, we talked about this issue. I'm going to put it up on the screen, and for those listening on the podcast, I'll read it to you. So there's a Dolly Parton song. It's called Rainbowland. And I'm just going to read some of the lyrics. Living in a rainbow land where everything goes as planned. And I smile because I know if we try, we could really make a difference in this world. I won't give up. I'll sleep a wink. It's the only thought I think. You know where I stand. I believe we can start living in a rainbow land. Living in a rainbow land where you and I go hand in hand. Oh, I'd be lying if I said this was fine. All the hurt and the hate going on here. We are rainbows, me and you. Every color, every hue. Let's shine on through together. We could start living in a rainbow land. And the last verse says, living in a rainbow land, the skies are blue and things are grand. Wouldn't it be nice to live in paradise where we're free to be exactly who we are? Let's all dig down deep inside, brush the judgment and fear aside, make wrong things right and end the fight, because I promise ain't nobody gonna win. Come on. So that's the song, and those are the lyrics. Unfortunately, some people really didn't like what they perceived as the message in this song. A teacher in Waukesha, Wisconsin, was reprimanded back in March. And we have that. She came on with us and we talked about it. And let's welcome back to the show, Melissa Temple. Melissa, thank you so much for coming on the show. When you reached out to me, I apologize. I had not read the article in the Washington Post with the update. And unfortunately, you've been terminated, correct?
Yeah.
You sent me, and I wanted to play it, but the sound was a little low because during the hearing, everyone's back was to the video camera. Can you just lay out the argument that both you versus the district made during this hearing?
Sure. Well, I wasn't told why I was being investigated at all. I was on leave from April 3rd until throughout the rest of the school year. And then I received an investigation report at the end in the middle of May. And they said that I had violated some of the school district policies around they said that I wasn't telling the truth about what happened, first of all. They also said that I created an intentional negative attention towards the district, and that I was speaking as a representative of the district, even though I wasn't. From my side of it, I was tweeting not as an employee of the district, but as a public citizen who was very concerned about the way the policies had changed in our district. And I tweeted from my personal account during my personal time. And then when I interviewed, and for example, when I was a guest on your show, it was during my spring break. So it was none of that happened during my work time. Right. Yeah.
Now I watched, some of the clips of the hearing, which I don't know how I would be able to sit there and not yell and scream. But what they were basically saying, Melissa, is you were creating this distraction. You were bringing negative attention onto the school and the district, that you had, I guess, included in the tweet some of the responses from your students, even though I don't believe you named them by name, which I feel like is fine. Your attorney's argument was, this is free speech. You're allowed as a private citizen to express your opinion. Now, they seem to have been pointing to the school handbook or the kind of the laws, the rules that you have to follow as a teacher within your district.
Correct.
Do you think that you did violate some aspect, be it the distraction or the way you went about expressing your displeasure at your students not being able to sing this song?
No, absolutely not. Like, none of it was. I've been a teacher for 23 years, and I absolutely know how to conduct myself in a professional manner on social media, right? The things that I said about my students were like, my students were excited or my students were disappointed. It wasn't ever about one student.
Right.
And then I said, there was something I quoted in one of my tweets where I spoke about my students and saying that, like, I want them to know that they also have a voice and they can speak up when there's something that they don't agree with. And I've been teaching, elementary, I taught middle school, I've taught adults, I've taught in universities as an adjunct professor. Like, I'm talking to anyone that's been my student. I'm not only ever just thinking about the kids in my class, because that's that's who I am. So, yeah.
What have, now I forget, I apologize. I forget the gentleman's name that they said, had to spend his spring break responding to everything. what were the private conversations like? I mean, with the people that you work with, that you walk down the halls with, when this whole thing was going on, I mean, did you have supporters? Did you have conversations with people that understood why the song couldn't be sung? What was, that real life reaction from people?
Yeah. Well, that's the part to me that's so upsetting, is that I've only heard positive things from the people in the community there that I know. So sure, there's people in Waukesha that don't like, you know, me, or
Diversity.
for whatever reason. Yeah. Like, there's people that claim that the song is inappropriate, which I don't understand, but I don't know any of them. I couldn't say who they were if I saw them, but I
Right.
know that the parents of my own students, overwhelming support. Like, I would receive messages and I wasn't allowed to respond. But when I was on leave, sending me messages like, I heard what happened, or I saw in the news, and like, we support you. We want you to know that, like, we want you back. They were emailing the principal, the superintendent, like, demanding for me to go back to the classroom, asking how long I was going to be gone, telling them that they didn't think there was anything wrong with the song or anything that I did. And it fell on deaf ears. All of that was just completely ignored. And the parents were just as frustrated as I was, I think, if not more so, because their kids were the ones that really ended up feeling the effects of my absence. And I think I even said last time, like, I didn't ever think that they were going to fire me. Like, I thought I was going to be disciplined. I thought maybe they were going to write me up or something. I know that other teachers have definitely done way more on social media than say my students were excited.
Right.
And those teachers hadn't been disciplined. So it was very frustrating. And even in the community, there's a group of parents called the Waukesha, or the Alliance for Education in Waukesha, who's been working to try to right these wrong things for a long time. They were overwhelmingly supportive. And then I had people, I'm guessing people even maybe from this show, like, emailing them and calling and saying that they supported me and that they thought the policies were wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that, but
So,
that wasn't probably making anybody on the school board very happy to hear, because
yeah.
do you have friends on the school? I mean, do you know these people that were making the decision? Do they know you?
No. Well, I know
Okay.
one of them that was just elected right after I was put on leave. And so there's one person on the school board that is she's a retired teacher. So
Right.
she's really understands what's going on. I don't know any of the nuances behind why she voted the way she did, but I know that she's a supportive person to teachers and students, and she wants the right stuff. Um, I also know that the evidence they presented during my hearing wasn't complete because we were denied the opportunity to see any of the so-called emails that they
Complaints.
referred to. Yeah, so we didn't have any complaints. The open records request was denied, and we were like, okay, that's when we kind of just felt like
Yeah.
they just don't want me there. So let's just get this over with. Yeah.
The reason I also wanted to bring you back on is because this is the consequence at a time in our history right now. We're losing teachers like you. We are losing people that have spent decades in the teaching profession, which should be focused on molding minds to be what that song says, to be kind, to be accepting, to be inclusive. Are
Mhm.
you going to continue teaching? What is next for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm definitely going to be in schools. I don't know yet what that's going to look like. I have a background doing work in like racial equity, gender and sexuality training for teachers, inclusivity and safe space training. And so I'm gonna definitely do something within that capacity, and I'm going to be in schools, but I really don't know what it looks like yet. School's starting soon, and I was just terminated, so it's just been like really a whirlwind the past couple weeks. So yeah,
What
but
what if anything would you have done differently? I mean, do you think that there was anything that you could have done differently and yet still kind of made your point that this is not a bad song, that we need to teach inclusiveness, especially at a time like now?
I don't really know that there was anything that I would do differently, especially now knowing, honestly, like now knowing how much people are paying attention. it is the silver lining of all this. And I do feel like had I known that that was going to happen, I probably would have made more of an effort to say something. It was just a perfect storm, like the Dolly Parton and Miley Cyrus being the artists within the song, I think really helped. So maybe I would have reached out to them first to ask them if they would jump on board.
I was thinking the state. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if Dolly Parton herself like walked into the school and was like, "You have a problem with my song?" I bet you how much their tune would have changed. Would have
Oh, I
changed if she
wish.
herself would have said it.
Yeah. I mean, I wish if anybody out there watching your show knows them, I would love for them to
Yes.
reach out to me. I feel like really together, this sounds so cheesy, but really together, like we could make a difference. And they
Absolutely.
could really do a lot with the voices that they have. And I would love to support in whatever that looks like. There's a lot of other teachers like me that have just as much experience and just as dedicated that have also been put in this position. There's a friend of mine named Katie Rinderly in Atlanta or near Atlanta who read a book called My Shadow is Purple that she bought at her school's Scholastic Book Fair.
Mhm.
And she's has her hearing for her termination this coming week. Yeah, week from today, actually. And it's people like her, and I talked to her and I found out that she is also, just finished her graduate degree, and she worked with students with special needs and students that are gifted and talented, and she was really doing amazing things, and she's been home since March. And
Wow.
she unfortunately didn't get the same amount of attention because she didn't have that benefit of being involved with Miley Cyrus and Dolly Parton, however loosely
Right.
attached, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
mean, but so she's has her hearing. I would imagine the fear and the likelihood is that she's going to be terminated just like you were. Hopefully
Yeah.
that doesn't happen. Are you planning on staying in Waukesha?
I'm gonna be there, not as a teacher, but as part of the community. I don't live there, but I am definitely not leaving as far as my presence. I'll be
Mhm.
there helping with whoever decides to run for school board and helping find people that want to run for school board because we really need people that care on the school board. I think last time I was talking to you, you said something about like where, how did this happen? And I found out since then, the candidates that are extremely conservative and wanted to change these policies to be exclusive and very narrow-minded have all been funded by really conservative Republican groups. And so their campaigns, even finding those candidates, was done through a very strategic way with a
Yeah.
lot of funding. So I think that there are definitely more good people in Waukesha than people that want to make kids feel like they're not part of the community. And I want them to be the ones making decisions out there because the people are amazing. The people that I worked with are wonderful, amazing people, and the kids and the families were wonderful. I didn't have one bad experience, and I feel bad because Waukesha has historically had a very conservative reputation, and it's really not like that. It really
Mm.
isn't.
Is this the end? Are you going to sue possibly for wrongful termination
We're,
or?
yeah, we'll be filing a federal lawsuit against the district for violating my First Amendment rights in the next few weeks.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
please keep us updated on that part. How is the teacher shortage there? One of our listeners, viewers, is saying they're firing teachers in the middle of a teacher shortage. The Waukesha School District needs a reality check. I mean, I know we have teacher shortages. That's in the headlines all the time, and we're in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it is, in other towns across the U.S.
I know I think at my school they're still looking for 2 teachers. I know that there's a shortage, and I know every week I'm hearing about more and more people leaving the district because they just in their heart of hearts don't agree with what we're being told to or what we're not allowed to do as far as supporting students in our classroom. So
Would you ever advise
it's
someone
hard.
to be a teacher in 2023 with what is going on right now?
Oh my gosh. It's a good question. I mean, I love it. I love being a teacher, so I wouldn't ever say not to do it. If you want to do it, I think you should. And I think that if you're committed to it, you can definitely learn a lot, even if you're not in the best situation. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
def I don't regret working Waukesha at all. I loved it.
Well, I hope that you keep teaching. I hope that you find a school district that you can teach in. I mean, just because you were terminated from there doesn't mean you can't go work for another school district, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have my license and my national board certification.
Right. They're
I have
not
a
taking that
lifelong
away
teacher.
from you.
Yes. No, they can't take it.
Okay, well, keep us posted, Melissa. The door is always open. Kim McAllister is here as well, and it's a tough situation to be in because like you mentioned, Melissa, you could see kind of the strategic way this is happening. I don't know how we stop it from happening and spreading even farther.
Yeah, I think parents and community leaders need to really speak up and make sure that they're letting their school boards and their school administrators know when they don't agree with these things, because I never thought it would happen where I work, and it's unfortunately gone to the other districts right around me in the past few months, and it's really sad and scary for the kids.
I just popped in because I wanted to say I'm sorry that you lost your job. But as a mom, and Nikki and I both have kids in school, I hope that you don't stop teaching and that you find another job quickly, because I think both, I can say as moms, want teachers like you who are inclusive, who make kids feel good, and who stand up and fight for what's right. I think that, it might feel sad to have lost the job, but the lesson that you kind of left these kids with and showed them is like, no, you need to have some personal integrity here.
Exactly.
You need to, and that's important to stand up for that, even if it costs you your livelihood.
Yeah. I just can't imagine what you're going through. And our viewers are there with you in the fight. I will be posting this on all of our socials. Yeah. I'll send it to you like I did before, Melissa. They want us to track it. Please keep us posted on your lawsuit, because I think this case is the face of what's going on in America right now with our education, with our public education, whether it's school vouchers, kind of taking money from some public schools, to the debate about teachers and what's taught in schools and what books are in schools. This is the problem, is that they're not letting professionals who are actually trained to teach do their job. And that's what it should be focused on, instead of all of this nonsense about a song about positivity and inclusiveness. What is kindergarten not except teaching those values?
I know. Thank you so much. I have to tell you that my other new friends who've also been in this situation told me that I should tell people that my friend made a GoFundMe for me, even though it's so embarrassing.
No, it is not embarrassing. Please share the link. Please share the link with me. Email it to me. I will put it in my show notes, and I will, when I pull this interview, I will include that as well.
I guess I have legal things going on that I'll probably need to pay for in the future, and I definitely don't want to let anyone off the hook because of financial reasons. So
yes,
thank you so much. And thank you, Kim, because I really do hope that that's what my students are left with, even though I wasn't able to work with them. And also, now that I've been fired, I can talk to them, and I can have a Facebook group with their parents and have a barbecue. Cool. So that's what I plan to do.
Good.
And I know that you are wanting to stay in that community, but I invite you to California. Other than Temecula Valley Unified, steer clear of them. But the rest of California, I just read a story about a town in California that we're legally mandated now in the state to offer TK classes, transitional kindergarten classes. And there's one town, they don't have enough teachers, they can't do it. So even though the law says they have to, there's no teachers to staff those positions. We need you here in California. We would support you in California, and we wouldn't treat you this way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I love California. I have family in the Bay Area and in LA, and I love it out there. So I would love to move there.
Well, the door is always open, Melissa, and please keep us updated on the lawsuits. Send me that GoFundMe. We'll post it as well. And the best of luck to you. Keep up the fight, and thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to talk to you, and thank you to all your listeners as well. I really appreciate it.
All right. Keep up the good fight, Melissa. Bye. Bye. Yeah. How frustrating. How absolutely frustrating. It makes me kind of emotional, Kim. It really does. Like, what are we doing, people? Like, I read the lyrics to that song, and so many of you in the comments were saying, I don't understand what the problem is. Exactly. Right. But conservatives, and I'm calling out you conservatives because it's not liberals that are doing it, are reading something between the lines that makes them upset. No, you want us to be inclusive to people we don't like. Yes. The world is made up of different people who live different ways. That is the freedom that all you conservatives love to talk about, but you don't mean freedom What you mean is fall in line and be like us.
Right.
And that's BS. And I don't know. I mean, I don't knock you. You want to be conservative? You want to vote a certain way? Fine, but that's on you. That's your belief. You want to believe in a certain religion that doesn't let you do certain things? Those are your rules. That's how you live your life. Don't impose that on everybody else.
I like that kids are exposed to different grown-ups that are safe and trustworthy in all the best situations every year. And they could be people that are gay, or they could be people that are conservative, or they could be, you know, a Birkenstock wearing hippie. I don't know, but they're different people in their lives every year, and they get a flavor for what the world is really like. And so why we want to make everyone be a carbon copy, every teacher be a carbon copy of the other, is beyond me. I you know, I would love to have my kids sing that song. So,
well, yeah, I mean, and then again, like, you know, on the other side, I had posted this when we had talked about that Jason Aldean song. Remember the Jason Aldean song?
Yeah.
He actually had to pull some of the clips from the video that used news footage or whatever. So it was like a few seconds shorter. But I posted this meme on my Facebook page, and I was flabbergasted, to use a ding word, about the response that some people who follow my page gave. So this was the meme that I put. If you don't like the country song, you don't have to listen to it. To people who ban books and drag shows, you don't have to go to these things. You don't have to read these books. And if you're a parent, you could tell your child you don't want them to read those books. But to impose your belief system, a blanket across everyone else, is unfair and literally goes against what this country stands for. And people are like, no, it's because and who's asking you to save the children of parents who are willingly taking their children to Drag Queen Story Hour? What parents are asking you to protect them from library books? Nobody is asking you to do that. Nobody. Keep your eyes on your own paper. It's so freaking annoying, but yeah. Eric, I do. Nikki's like, Eric's like, Nikki, you get a lot of trolls on your Facebook feed. I do. And I don't mind it. I've learned to like woosah about the whole thing. I mean, sometimes if you catch me, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. If you catch me on a late night, on a weekend, be careful. Because sometimes I'll be like, maybe I shouldn't say it. And then I had a cocktail and I'm like, F it, I'm saying it. But I really try to practice kind of that's your opinion type of thing. But yeah, I get some people. I had to shut down. I told you I shut down my message, my private messaging on my Nikki Medoro Show Facebook page. Because I was like, if you're going to say it to me, you're going to post it right on my page for everyone else to see. You're not going to write me this long, hateful letter. No. You're going to be identified and you're going to have to post it. And I love it. I opened up my DMs on Facebook for the Taylor Swift tickets, and I shut it right back down again.
I might be opening myself up here for horrible comments, but I have never had other than, I mean, we have lovely listeners that are always reaching out.
You're way nicer than me. That's why.
No.
But do you post things like this? I mean, honestly, Kim, and I don't know if you do. I mean, I've never seen it, but I mean, are you posting something like this on your Facebook page?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so see, I do that. So I like kind of I stir the pot because that's what I believe, and I'm not knocking you for not doing it, but I can't let it go. It bothers me to no end that I express it that way, and I know most of the time I put like something like that, and I'll go thoughts because I know what's gonna happen, but. It doesn't bother me. I mean, again, catch me on a weekend late night.
Yeah.
It's going to be some fun times on my Facebook page. So, yeah. See, Kim knows me. Kim is way nicer than us. Nikki pokes the bear. And I love it. I love it. All right. Okay. So we're going to switch gears after Kim's news because guess who's back? Back again. It's Jefferson Graham. He has been gone.
Yay!
For like a month on this road trip. I'm telling you, Kim, I can't wait to hear about it because apparently things have been lost. I don't know if they were stolen. We're talking about literally the bumper fell off this trip for Jefferson Graham. All right. So he's going to be joining us after Kim's news. I will also let you know how you can spend the night with Gwyneth Paltrow in a Goop-inspired AirBnB. I don't know if that sentence appeals to everybody, but I'm just letting you know I have the deets. I will let you know. All right, so we're going to talk to Jefferson Graham. Again, click the thumbs up button as you're watching, as you're listening to the show. And Jefferson Graham coming right up, right after Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
I am Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show, and let us start, of course, with former President Donald Trump, who will soon be answering to charges for his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. The Justice Department claims Trump was determined to remain in power despite having lost the election. Trump claims the charges are an attempt by President Biden to interfere with the upcoming presidential election. Trump set to appear in a D.C. courtroom at 4 p.m. Eastern for his arraignment, where he is expected, of course, to plead not guilty. I don't know if you saw this interchange, but former Vice President Mike Pence is capitalizing on the latest federal indictment against Donald Trump. Pence's presidential campaign is selling t-shirts and has hats that read "Too Honest."
I love it.
It's
I
a
love
nod
it.
to a quote from the indictment against Trump for his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The indictment details a phone call on Christmas, a Christmas call to remember, in which Trump allegedly told Pence that he's too honest. And after the former vice president maintained he did not have the authority to reject electoral votes. So Pence is running against Trump for the 2024 GOP presidential nomination. And now you can buy the Too Honest t-shirt.
Let's see how honest he is. If he's brought in again to testify or something like that, he should wear that shirt. The backbone needs to be there, Pence. Let's just see if he maintains it.
Well, it's interesting that he didn't really have much to say until all of a sudden the indictment was filed, and now he's
it's all
singing.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Too honest. That's funny. I can just even that I can hear their voices in my head.
Well, and what does that say of Trump saying that to him? You're too honest. So you're a liar. You are a liar. God, it's so obvious he's lying, people. Get it to bed.
Trump had to know when he booked Mike Pence to be his vice president that he was having, he was letting the Boy Scout in, the very religious, very, ethical to his own moral standards, right? Person that isn't going to go along when you ask him to break a law or to lie or, to do something he views as being morally unethical against the Bible. He's not going for it.
Right. I love John's comment. Pence should wear that shirt that says "Too Honest" on the debate stage if he has to stand next to Trump, even if he's not standing right next to him, because he probably won't. It'd be DeSantis. That'd be interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, or a tie that says "Too Honest" down the there is a town hall meeting that will be held later this week in San Francisco to discuss a shooting by police that killed a man. Friday's town hall event will take place in the afternoon, where police will make a presentation about the deadly shooting and then will take some public comment as well. Ryant Bluford was fatally shot by officers after he approached two plainclothes officers making an arrest in the area of Fairfax Avenue and Catalina Street. That was July 26th. Police haven't said if Bluford had any connection to the person being arrested. He was found with a firearm on him, so we'll get more information at the town hall meeting this week. Some residents in the city of San Pablo are out of their homes because of a bomb scare. Ooh. Hundreds of residents near Stanton Avenue were told to leave as a precaution. This was yesterday afternoon after hundreds of boxes with severely hazardous materials were found inside of a local garage. The bomb squad was called in. They said people should leave their homes as a precaution. That evacuation order was still in place as of late Wednesday night, and crews were trying to remove all that hazardous and potentially explosive materials from that home. In Oakland, authorities are hoping the public can help them track down whoever burglarized a brand new high school. The police say thieves broke into the Freedom School in East Oakland over the weekend, and they just wreaked havoc. 8 laptops, several projectors, a bunch of microphones stolen, among other items. The brand new school was set to open its doors in just a few weeks. Teachers and staff are now picking up the pieces. They're hopeful to get the school ready in time. The police say anyone with information on this burglary is urged to call them. There is, and I want to highlight this, and I don't have the picture up, but there is a search for a missing teenager in Saratoga. Santa Clara County authorities say 17-year-old Catherine Schneider was last seen July 5th leaving her home driving a white 2019 Honda Accord. Schneider is a white female. She's got blonde hair, blue eyes, 5'5", 115 pounds. Authorities haven't given up much information regarding her disappearance, but they're urging anyone with information to call the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office. And that is it. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you, Kim. And again, you guys, please click the thumbs up button. And this is a 100% crowdfunded show. So the super chat is live. Let me say some thank yous. Harry starting us off with that $5 super sticker. So very generous. SF Bay Play Way. Kind of a tongue twister there, SF.
Yeah, it is.
$10 plus the comment talking about the law sucks. It's imperfect. Sincerely a victim. Yes, indeed. You are so right. And then not only one $10 donation, but another $5 super sticker. And so we really appreciate any donations that we get, either through the super chat. So look for that $sign, or please sign up to be a monthly Patreon subscriber. It's how we keep the lights on. Literally. So go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon link is there. You could donate any amount you want. They only charge you once a month, and you're charged on the day you sign up. So it's not like everyone's charged on the first. So you have a month. So it's just once a month. You could budget the show into your kind of budget, and we really appreciate it. Also, PayPal is another great way to donate to the show. The Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. Any amount helps. So if you think about us, if you love waking up to us, please consider donating, because we really, really do appreciate it. All right. Well, he is back from a month-long trip. Let's say hello to our friend Jefferson Graham. Welcome back, my friend. Oh, you're muted. Hold on. Let me unmute you. Oh, you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, gone too long. Forgot how to unmute.
Welcome back. So
you.
now remind our viewers and listeners where you've been for the last month.
Okay, I've been on a 30-day road trip, which started in Los Angeles and extended into Prescott, Arizona, Monument Valley, Arizona, Moab, Utah, Glenwood Springs, Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, the Badlands of South Dakota, Deadwood and Custer, South Dakota.
Wow.
The
right?
Grand Tetons in Wyoming and Idaho, Park City, Utah, with a grand finale at Juan's Flaming Fajitas in Henderson, Nevada, the night before. The night before I came back. Yeah.
I mean, epic. Have you ever done a road trip this long and like that?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. When I met my wife, it was several years ago. I was in San Francisco at the time, and I said, hey, I'm taking a road trip. Would you like to come with me? This is 30 days after we first met. And we did a trip that was even more extensive. It was the entire West, California, Oregon, Washington, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. So
you really learn something about somebody by going on a road trip like that.
Yeah, we had a good time. That time we camped. This time we stayed in motels. So, but I was filming episodes of my Photowalks TV show, and I also did a class for Kelby One, which is a photo instruction site on how to photograph the American West with an iPhone. And
can I show some pictures while you're talking? Because I want you
Sure.
sent me a link to some of these pictures, and I'm telling you, I mean, they're amazing. I'm just going to go through it, and you can just mention, like, obviously,
well,
you see Mount Rushmore.
It just cracks me up that you could drive down the road and all of a sudden there's Mount Rushmore at the side of the road. Yeah.
Look at that.
So that's Mount Rushmore. And I should say that you saw a guy on a motorcycle. This weekend, 500,000 motorcycle enthusiasts will be in the town of Sturgis, South Dakota.
Oh, it's Sturgis,
in a state that has 900,000 people. So that's a lot of people. The next thing you saw was a cowboy out in the prairie of the Badlands. So he's a ranch hand at the Circle View Ranch.
So you just meet these people and you're like, can I take a picture of you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
That's a cool shot. Yeah.
I know, isn't it?
That's the road. That's notice it's a different color, but
out on the open road.
Out on the open road. That's my life. And what's coming next? I think we have Badlands coming. Okay, that is a old fire station at a place called 1800s Town. And
See, I love how you got the star. See, this would be blurry for me because I'm not you and professional. Did you? And this is all on your iPhone?
Yeah.
You're amazing. I mean, it's just
On a
amazing.
tripod. On a tripod.
On the tripod.
Using an app called Even Longer. And that's the same place. That's also
Longhorn
1800.
Saloon. There you go. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that shot. That's gorgeous.
This is the Badlands National Park, which is one of the most incredible places. It doesn't get the tourist love that the other national parks get, but it definitely should. We were just blown away. It's like stepping on another planet. And I have a story here. I asked a guy at the park, why do they call it the Badlands? And he said, would you consider it good to be riding your wagon train up a rock like that?
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. I mean, these shots are just amazing.
Thank you. All done on iPhone. Yeah.
Just gorgeous. Now there was some hiccups on your trip as I go through these pictures. The email that you sent me, some things happened on your trip.
Okay. Let's see. Well, these first of all, things will happen when you're on the road, and it's just the way it is. And also, when you're a photographer, you lose things. So there's no two ways around that. Just to want to say, Longhorn. Those are Texas Longhorn cows.
Look at those.
You don't see them every day, and there's electric fences that separate you and the road. So,
and I'm imagining that this animal is way bigger than it looks in that picture.
Yeah, it's pretty big, and there are even bigger ones, and they love to look at humans, so that's fun. Anyway, you lose things. So in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, I went on a rafting trip, and I had the phone in my little selfie stick with the tripod attachment on it, and we were going so fast, and the phone just went straight in the water. Just
straight into the water.
Boom. Down, gone. It was an older iPhone that I used for specific uses, but it was long gone, and the raft went flying right by. We rented a car for the trip, and by the second day, the bumper was falling off, and I was a little concerned about that.
What did you hit that the bumper is coming off, or where did you rent this car from?
I rented from Avis. We're number 2. If that's a to date you there, but so it was very simple. I just went to another Avis in the next town and said, "Here, take it back, give me another one," and they did. So that was great. I left a Insta360 camera somewhere in Moab. I don't know where. And I lost a battery charger I left in a hotel room. So aside from that, it was
you'll
all
lose
good.
some things, I guess.
Yeah.
Who's this character that we're looking at right here?
He's a bartender in the city of Deadwood, South Dakota, which is an old gambling town that goes back to the 1870s and is alive and well. Right now, it's mostly all casinos and shops selling junk.
He looks the part, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
He looks the part.
That is
funny. What else? This is in the town of Custer, where you guys are in the San Francisco Bay Area. I doubt that the last time you went to a cafe and sat down, the waiter said to you, "Are you a vet? Are you a veteran? Because you get a veteran discount." They don't say things like that to you in the big cities, but they do in towns like Custer, where you see a lot of American flags.
Nice.
And I should note a lot of Trump. Did I see Trump T-shirts? No, I saw the Trump T-shirts in Deadwood, not so much in Custer.
Well, that's kind of typical. I mean, I would say that's kind of typical.
But I should also say, you guys, you talk about Trump a lot. The Trump that we hear about and we read about, it's a different character in the T-shirt shops. Trump is Sly Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Trump is the Terminator who's coming back. And he is a definite character, and I think it has nothing to do with politics. It has all to do with personality. That's what I garnered.
This says something about them, I guess, but okay. Where the heck is Wall Drug? Okay, what's
have you
that?
ever heard of Wall Drug?
No.
Wall Drug is this tourist spot. It's an entire town. It was once a little drugstore, and now it's blocks and blocks and blocks of junk. And people, like I did, and everybody else will go there just because you do. And they give away these bumper stickers that everybody puts on their car, and they give away free water. And you can buy Western shirts and hamburgers and old West replicas, and spend a little time there. Since 1931, there's really no good reason to go there, but everybody's going to go there. So we'll just say that.
When people say they drive across the country, they go on these road trips, the towns start looking a lot like each other. Would you say there's a lot more character to these than other places?
Well, definitely. I do want to say that on this trip, every place we went to looked different. every 200 miles, the exterior changed. It was unbelievable. You leave California and you go into Arizona, and then it starts getting red.
Yeah.
And I don't mean politically. I
No,
mean
yeah, the
the
rocks and everything
dirt,
like that.
the
Yeah.
rocks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you get into Colorado, and it gets really green. And then you get into Wyoming. I mean, it just was unbelievable. The peacock story here that you're showing, they told me that the peacock likes to spread its wings after dinner, and that was the best time to photograph a peacock. I did not know that. Did you?
I did not know that
Pretty.
either. I thought that I
Yeah.
thought that they spread their feathers or their wings when they wanted to fight.
Feathers.
But-
Feathers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, I would take that as aggressive, but that's beautiful. I've never seen an
Yeah.
all white peacock like that. That's
Never
gorgeous.
have I seen that. We stayed at the at the Circle View Ranch, which is right on the outside of Badlands National Park. Highly, highly, highly recommended. They serve breakfast to everybody every morning. The breakfasts are amazing, and they start with ringing the bell. It's fiddle time.
How awesome is that? I mean, and here's Badlands National Park. There's the sign. Black Hills, South Dakota.
Yeah.
Nice shot of Mount Rushmore.
Okay, now do you notice something on the top of George Washington's head?
I'm seeing some rangers perhaps up there. Are they
I think there's some
rock
rangers.
climbers?
I know they're rangers. I posted this picture on Facebook, and people thought it was Ruth, who's my wife, and myself up there
Oh, how
trying to be
funny.
like Cary Grant and Eva Marie Saint at the end of North by Northwest. All your fans know that was a classic Alfred Hitchcock movie from the 50s that ended with a chase up there. But in truth, Hitchcock did not film that scene there. He did a recreation.
All right. I mean, this is just really, really cool.
And
That
this is Crazy
go ahead.
Horse. Go back one.
Yeah.
This is Crazy Horse. This is the Native American response to Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is on sacred land that was stolen from the Native Americans, and they're very upset about it. And they created their own response, which is called Crazy Horse. Unfortunately, they're a little slower. Our Crazy Horse monument is not finished, and I don't think will be finished for many, many years. But you will spend more time at this monument learning about Native American history and the truth and what really happened in this world versus what you get at Mount Rushmore. They have a nice exhibit at Mount Rushmore as well, but you drive in, you park, and you get out, you look at the four presidents, and not much more. So you'll
I'm
spend
so
more
glad
time at Crazy Horse.
you brought that up, though. That it's so important for people to realize that, because you think Mount Rushmore, what an undertaking, what an artistic, an amazing artistic thing they did there. But then if you really look into it, you understand that, maybe Native Americans didn't want the faces of presidents carved into their sacred mountains. Maybe they didn't want that. Maybe they don't want hordes of tourists coming onto their land and the area that they value. So yeah, I see Mount Rushmore a different way now, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's when you learn about the history of things. We talked about this a lot before my trip to Hawaii and, colonization and all sorts of the history behind it that people maybe don't want to talk about necessarily because it kind of ruins the trip. But yeah, you need to educate yourself about all of that. These are amazing shots. Which was your favorite place to go and photograph?
The favorite place was Monument Valley, which was the setting for most of those John Ford Westerns, the John Wayne Westerns from Once Upon a Time. That was just absolutely stunning to stand out there at 5 a.m. and look out at those things were just great. But every place was great. Every place got better and better and better. The Grand Tetons blew me away. The Badlands blew me away. This is an area I've never been to before. All of South Dakota, I've never been there, and it was fascinating. And a lot of times people in the big cities don't go out to areas like that because people think differently than they do. But don't talk politics and don't talk religion, and you will have a great time because these people are really, really nice.
That is awesome.
They were so nice. Even Nebraska, I got to tell you about Nebraska. So we just went through a sliver of Nebraska for about 2 or 3 hours, and for 2 hours we drove. There wasn't one store that was open. There wasn't one gas station that was in business. It was all abandoned motels and restaurants and cafes. And, you just don't see that where we live. It's just unbelievable. And then finally we got to Chadron Nebraska, tiny little town. The people could have been nicer and more talkative and more open, and it was eye opening. And I think everybody should really do whatever they can to get out and go on the road. When you go on an airplane, you don't see jack.
You miss it.
You don't
Yeah.
see anything, and you will see so much on a road trip, and you have total freedom. Yeah, nobody's
is
telling you
awesome.
when you have to be anywhere. I mean, it's just the greatest.
Was there ever a spot where you got into a part of a country that was like, I know you said don't talk politics, so of course that makes me want to talk politics. Was there ever a spot where you rolled in and it was like Trump sign city, and you're thinking, I am in the reddest of red area of the United States, and I best watch what I say here because I'm going to get run out of town?
No, what I said is that these are merchants looking to make $1, and they know that they will be able to sell this stuff. They may not believe in it, or they may, or whatever. They're just out to make a buck, and this is turned into a way for them to make money. Right near Mount Rushmore, there's a town right on the outskirts, and it was so many shirts, and they were vile. I mean, some of the anti-Biden stuff was really vile, but you just have to turn your nose and walk the other way, and that's the way it is.
Did you stay with people that you knew? Do you know people out there? Did you make any friends that you're going to go back and see?
We stayed with some relatives of my wife's, and that was great. But that was for 4 days in Boulder. Aside from that, we met a lot of interesting people. We stayed at this ranch for 4 nights, and that was great. And there was a whole bunch of people were there, so we got to know them as well. And
any place that you would move to if you didn't live where you live right now?
Yeah, Park City, Utah. I love it there.
Really?
Yeah, it's just one of the most gorgeous places in the world, and they do such a really nice job of having trails all over town for you to walk, ride your bike, and it's just really well done.
Yeah.
The other place, I love Moab as well. Moab was on the other part of the state. But I do live in a beach community with 72 degrees every day. So it's kind of
exactly. That's my only, because people were asking in the comments, you must have melted in some of the parts because of the heat wave.
Okay, so let me tell you about that. So 100 degrees for the first 2 weeks every day. But it's very simple. Nikki, you know what I do. I get up early.
Middle of the morning.
And so in Moab, this is really interesting. Moab, 100 degrees, and the delicate arch. You'll all know it. We'll talk about it maybe in the upcoming segment. But they told me that you need to be at the park by 5 a.m. because while it's 100 degrees outside, the rocks are 130. Because they've been baking all day, and that's what you'll be walking on. So we were out there at 5, and it was great. And we got to the Delicate Arch at 6, and we stayed there till 7, and then we walked back, and we were done at 8. And you just do your thing in the morning and in the evening. And as a photographer, I know that the rest of the day is worthless anyway. So just stay inside and go out to eat and have fun.
There you go. That's that wake up really early, but I guess that's for the best pictures that you can get. Absolutely. So the Moab arches, I don't have the picture.
No, you don't have a picture there, but we'll show it in future weeks.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and I also included in the show notes kind of your video preview. So everybody check that out. Obviously, Jefferson Graham does Photowalks TV. You can find it right here on YouTube. Can I throw you a little bit of a curveball that has nothing to do with your trip?
Go for it. Go for it.
All right. So I was asking Kim this question at the beginning of the show because we don't know the answer to this. Have you ever photographed for a wedding?
Oh, many times.
Really? So you've been a wedding photographer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As recently as what month are we in? June. Or was it?
Really?
Yeah, I did a wedding in June. Yeah.
Now, did you do it on your iPhone?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I'll tell you why.
I mean, awesome.
Okay. Yes, you could do a complete wedding on an iPhone with no problem. The only issue is getting a picture of the bride looking lovingly at the groom during the ceremony, unless you're willing to be a total pain in the butt and stand right in front of them, which you're not allowed to do.
Yeah.
You can do all the family groups. You can do walking down the aisle. You can, all that stuff. 80% of what you need to do, you could do on an iPhone. You will run into trouble at the reception when it's dark. And at that point, because when I shoot, I use my Sony for them, and I use a flash. I need the flash for the reception.
Okay, I'm going to show you. So this woman went viral on TikTok, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the headline reads, I spent $3,000 on a wedding photographer, and she received the following picture. So I don't want to play the TikTok because I'll get dinged. These are a couple of her pictures. So now blurry. What as a professional photographer, what did the photographer, besides not capture at the right time, because she doesn't really look like that, but it looks blurry to me.
Well, that's because they shot at the reception, where I just noted, which I just mentioned, is in really low light, and you need a flash. But I think there's more going on here. She doesn't look like that, and he doesn't look like that. Somebody put heads on these people.
No,
don't you think?
I mean,
You
that
don't think so?
apparently these are the pictures that she received from her wedding photographer. This is another one. Hold on, let's see if I can bring this up. Let me share my screen real quickly. And the cropping was all wrong. So this is the entire picture of her. Oh wait, let me take this down. Of the her handing, I guess, the gift to the flower girl. Her face isn't even in it. You must, as a wedding photographer, have a lot of pressure on you to make the bride and the groom obviously look good.
You try your best. I would say on that picture, that picture's fine, but they probably have 10 other ones of wide and close and every angle possible, right?
Yeah.
Right.
What's the number one rule as a wedding photographer, do you think?
Number one rule, is get a great shot of the groom and the bride, and the groom. Get great shots. Once you're there, everything else is wonderful. Right. So the two most important things is a wedding portrait and walking down the aisle. Those two shots. Everything else is, from there on, in my world, it's family groups and every possible family combination. One time I did a wedding where I was trying to do his side of the family and her side of the family, and we couldn't find the groom. He just disappeared. And that happens a lot. People just start walking all over the place and you go crazy.
Right.
But get a really nice portrait of the couple and you're in pretty great shape.
That's really funny that you mentioned that. At my wedding, we did the family, like my husband and his family and me, and then reverse. And both of his sisters were in my wedding party. And when my husband took his family photo with his aunts and his cousins and everyone was there, my two sister-in-laws just sat there outside and just watched the whole picture being taken. And then after, they're like, oh, we should have been in that photo. Yes. So we don't have a wedding photo with my sister-in-laws who were actually in the wedding in that picture, but that's on them. They literally just sat there.
But you do have Nikki's side with the parents and your husband's
brother
side
and
with
all that. Yes.
Parents. Right.
I had the worst photographer at my wedding.
Oh no!
I know. I mean, the pictures were okay, but it was the way she acted at the wedding that had everyone talking. She was standing in front of it was a very small wedding. It was 50 people on the sand in Maui. My close family, his close family,
gorgeous,
a few friends,
no matter
that was
what.
it.
But yeah.
And so she was like a fashion photographer, shaking her hips and saying, like yelling at the crowd about how she wanted them to pose and what to do. And it was like, everyone's looking at each other like, is this lady for real?
I love my photographer because we didn't even know where he was.
Oh,
he was like, he would get behind corn and he would get the best candid shots, which is what I really wanted. Besides the staged one, I wanted him to kind of be a fly on the wall and we had the best shots for that.
Okay. Well, that's fine. It's just that when you're walking down the aisle, I will say, if I can get the people to do something, because I've had to walk down the aisle like this and they're not smiling and they're not doing anything, you want them to do something. So if the people in the audience can be clapping and looking at them, I mean, that's really great. Now I have a question for Kim. May I ask a question to Kim, please? Kim, you went to see Taylor Swift this week, or your daughter went to see Taylor Swift?
My daughter went to see Taylor
Both
Swift.
of our daughters went to go see him.
Okay. Because I got a request from a friend of mine who's going tomorrow night, wanted to have photo tips for his daughter on getting great shots of Taylor Swift at the show on the iPhone. Did you guys, how did your daughter?
My daughter was in the nosebleeds. Julia was way closer. Did she get any good shots?
She was way closer. It's interesting. The shots that I liked of hers, ended up being the big shots of Taylor Swift on the TV screens.
Of course,
which is
yeah.
kind of cool. But she did get some pictures of Taylor Swift. It was dark, and most of the concert was, in the nighttime, but the lights were bright. So there's a lot of glare from the lights. The best pictures weren't of Taylor Swift. The best pictures were of my daughter and her cousin, singing and laughing and taking pictures of each other. Those are the ones that I think are the coolest.
And the people watching that she did, because Kim was sitting in the parking lot for hours during the concert. So she got all the sparkly
good pictures,
people walking down and everything like that.
Yeah, I told her to take pictures of the TV screen, that she'd get a better shot on the screen than she would have of Taylor, and just to do the scene in the place, it would be a lot more interesting to me than a picture of Taylor Swift singing.
Yeah.
Right?
One of the coolest shots she got was a video, and it started with like the stadium, and then she kind of backed up and panned out, and people must have been holding their cell phones up, and you can see these lights flickering all over the stadium, and it just kind of was overwhelming with how many people were in that stadium watching the show.
Yeah, it was huge. It was
when
a good
I was
time.
when I was in Colorado in Glenwood Springs, I met a woman from Durham, North Carolina, who had flown to Denver to bring her daughter because that was the only place they could get Taylor Swift tickets.
I know. Some people are going to Poland and it's cheaper than American tickets, Jefferson. I mean, it's
the
insane.
Tickets in France are $400 for Taylor Swift right now.
What were they in Petaluma?
In Santa Clara, they were $2,000 and $3,000
at least
selling for,
no,
or more.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
we
got
did not pay that much.
and you got tickets from a really nice listener.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, both of us did. Yeah, absolutely. So that was awesome. Thank you,
How
thank
about
you,
a
thank
question-
you, all of you.
How about a question for both of you? How's it
Okay.
going with the new time slot?
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And also a reminder, we haven't given the reminder, and Jefferson, I'm assuming you know, but if you don't, Kim does the 1 to 2
After
o'clock
party.
show, the after party. So everybody make sure that you stay. So we start at 9, we go all the way to 2. I mean, we as in ex-KGO people. And it's fun. And I like the mornings. We did early mornings at KGO. So this is actually
Nikki and I,
sleeping in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome. And I love being here in the morning and starting the day off. So it's awesome.
Well, I will be restarting my live show again
good.
soon. I've just been overwhelmed with editing since I've been back, but probably next week or the week after.
Oh, perfect,
Awesome.
perfect. Okay, well, great. Well, then we will see you next time. And thank you so much, Jefferson. We're so glad to have you back home.
Thrilled to be here.
All right,
Bye.
That is Jefferson Graham. And again, check out his preview of his 30-day long road trip. It's in the show notes. And
Those
check him out on
pictures are
Photowalks
amazing.
TV.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. I teased this. Now, I love the comments that we were getting before I started talking about this. You, everybody listening to the sound of my voice, can stay at an Airbnb with Gwyneth Paltrow. Okay, so I'm going to show you. This is in Montecito. It's a Goop-inspired. That's what they say. Goop-inspired stay. So here's the house. It's their guest house. Okay, so this is
That's
their
nice.
guest house. It's a nice house. Hold on, let's see if I can get these bigger. There we go. Pool, nice little pool there.
Mhm.
It's cute. I mean, I always look at the decorations, like how they stage these houses.
It's very white.
It's well, of course. I mean, I think that they're going for the clean look. They have a
Yeah.
soaking tub. That's kind of nice with the window, and I could see that being relaxing.
Yeah.
I like the sinks. I like those sinks. There's a shower. There's a thing. Now I'm going to play you the video. This is Gwyneth Paltrow. Hold on, stop sharing. This is Gwyneth Paltrow talking about it. And the funny thing is, she'll be there. So it's not as if you're just renting the Airbnb. According to this, you get to be there with her. So here you go.
Hi, I'm Gwyneth Paltrow.
Wait.
Welcome to my Montecito home. Behind me is my beautiful little guest house, which I'm about to list on Airbnb.
So there it is. Those are all the pictures.
Welcome. This is our guest house.
Nice little loft. So who's going to be her
Wood-burning
first guest?
fireplace, lovely little bar, the bedroom with nice high ceilings. In here, we've got a nice soaking tub, some of my favorite Goop products,
Goop
Your skin
products.
is going to be better when you leave than when you came. This
my
is
goodness.
nestled right in nature, so you can come and have a Zen moment with lots of light and fresh air. Another amazing thing we can do when you come and stay is we could have a little chef's dinner together in our wine room, and you can select whatever bottle of wine you like, and we can have a fantastic, cozy dinner with your guest and my husband. This is a really nice place to come and relax on one of the chaises long in the sun, have a nice swim. Okay, so do you think this is a good place to put on Airbnb?
I think I've seen a lot of homes, and I think this is one of the best homes I've ever seen. Yeah, for sure.
I have everything all set up and ready for you. Cannot wait to host you in the guest house.
She's insane. Somebody just said it. Yeah, John. Gwyneth better have security close by. If she has strange people coming in, you never know what kind of people show up. So it's one night. So here are the rules. Hold on. Let me go back to the rules here. So again, you have to sign up. It's kind of like the Barbie house. Remember we talked about the Barbie house?
Yeah,
So you can book it. It opens Tuesday, August 15th for a one-night stay for up to 2 guests. So it can only be 2 of you on Saturday, September 9th. So it's kind of like a raffle.
Okay.
I would assume. So you kind of submit your entry and then you might get chosen. I love the vagina. So it's the vagina candle that everyone's laughing about. So she makes a Goop candle that apparently smells like her vagina, which I don't know why you would want that. Whatever. But as far
Does
as
it smell like her vagina or a vagina?
I don't know how you would test scents if it wasn't your own. It's like perfume, right? I don't
Like
know.
how many vaginas are you going to smell to make sure it's accurate?
I mean, you only have one to test against, I guess, unless she's having like a smell test. Like that's a weird job posting. But anyways,
God.
the Airbnb posting says it's $0 a night. So that's why I'm thinking it's a raffle, you know? So I would love to go just to, even though I'm not a huge Gwyneth Paltrow, I don't dislike her. I like her like Iron Man. I don't know. I mean, she's okay. You know, the movie that I really liked her in, was it Sliding Doors, where it was that one where she misses the train door? I really liked the concept of that movie a lot. Obviously, I love her in Seven. But I think I just like the movie and she's in it. Do you know Seven with Brad Pitt? What's in the box? That one.
I didn't see that movie.
You didn't see Seven?
I didn't see Seven. Have I been remiss in not seeing it?
It's an iconic horror film. I guess that's probably why
horror
you
film.
But it's with Brad Pitt, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kevin Spacey. Like it is Morgan Freeman. It is it's not like some fly-by-night movie, Kim McAllister. You need to watch this. You need to watch Seven. It is gross. It was grotesque. It is a psychological thriller, and it is a must watch.
No.
You watch Last of Us, watch Seven. It's so good.
Absolutely not.
Come on. John says Seven is a very disturbing film, but it's great.
Disturbing, grotesque. These are words I avoid.
But
That's
so
all you need to say to
good.
go, oh, I can cross that off my list. I'm on to the next thing.
I still remember walking out of the movie watching that. I think I was with my parents at the time. And I remember everyone just walked out of the movie was like, wow. Okay. But anyways, back to the Goop-inspired AirBnB. So it has 1 bedroom. It has a queen bed. She says she'll be there to greet you upon your arrival. Ensure that you have all the necessities.
Yeah.
Goop-inspired. I love how it's all Goop. Goop-inspired meals and snacks will be provided. So let me know if there's any allergies or dietary restrictions, which is nice. Yeah. Anybody? I think I might just put it in just, for us and giggles, right?
It'd be a cool experience, I guess. But I think she's really looking for
Goop.
A Goop person, somebody people that like would go to her events that she holds and pay thousands of dollars. I bet it's some type of fundraiser or a raffle that benefits some type of Goop event.
Yeah, more vagina candles and those vagina rocks. She likes a lot of things that deal with your vagina. There's vagina rocks too that's supposed to like center your chakra or some crap like that. I don't know. But yeah, if you like that kind of thing. And you want to meet Gwyneth Paltrow and her husband, because she's not married to Chris Martin anymore. Who's she married to? Because at first I was like, "Ooh, I can meet Chris Martin," but I was like, "Oh no, they got the
They
uncoupling."
got divorced. Somebody.
It's not a
yeah,
divorce. It was
they
a conscious
consciously
uncoupling.
uncoupled. Yeah,
Yes,
it's
exactly.
somebody else.
Oh,
I
the
don't
jade
know.
eggs. Thank you, Kim. Jade eggs. Yeah, it's like jade up your hoo ha. And then you're all centered and everything. I think it's just because you're focused on the fact that you have jade eggs.
Who even thinks of
Okay.
such things? That's what I want to know.
I think that when you have a lot of money, you can sit around and think about all the things you can shove up your hoo ha. I don't know. You're bored. All right. Speaking of money, here's a question for you. Now, I know it's been a long time since we've dated, Kim. Okay, because we're very happily long married women, right?
Yeah.
But if I was to date again,
Yeah.
would you split the bill? Would you want or expect to split the bill? How do you feel about splitting the bill on a date? I'm sensing strong feelings from my friend. Okay, go.
Like on the
First date. First
just
date.
General first date out of the gate. So I don't have a problem with it in theory.
Okay.
But I think I do have a problem with the message that it sends overall. I don't know. I'm not.
What
going for
message
it.
would that
No.
be?
I don't like. Listen, I'm a woman who wants to contribute to the household income. I'm a worker. I'm not like a
Of course, that's marriage.
like,
We're talking dating here, people.
I'm not a laid back, take care of me kind of lady. But I feel like I want that person to say I value this date. I value this experience. I want to spend the money to do this with you. Right? I want that.
Okay.
I want that kind of response from the person that I would be on a date with. But on the other hand, I don't mind paying my own way. That's
Right.
fine. But if it's somebody that I really want to be interested in me, then I'm hoping that they will offer to pay because it shows me that they're wanting to be there. They're wanting to do this with me.
Okay. So
Does that
there
make
is
sense?
no, it makes sense. It's,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
an expression of desire to be with you and to
Mhm.
know you and to kind of woo
Yeah.
you, which is,
Yes.
I'm not going to say it's an antiquated thing. I think women like to be wooed. I think men like
Yes.
to woo women traditionally. Obviously,
Right.
things can change. Some women may take offense, and
Mhm.
that's on you. I never take offense if people want to give me things, right? If my husband wants to treat me to something, or if I was dating, they're like, I bought you flowers, the proper response, in my opinion, is thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Like, oh, you've got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Quick story. I went on this bike bar crawl. Okay. Last weekend. Kim was trying to text me and I was not having it because
I was trying to. I'm in your neck of the woods. I'm here in the South Bay. I'm sitting
I'm
in
like, you're
Blue
stuck at
parking lot
Levi
number
Stadium.
1.
I'm at bars. We're in two different
Why
places.
are you not riding your bike past me right now? I'm
No,
here
we're
for
close.
5 hours. And Nikki's like, I'm sorry, I'm drinking.
I'm in downtown San Jose and I'm drinking. Anyways, I'm at this bar. And just to give you a little bit of background, my husband is part of a bicycle club. And so there was a bunch of different bicycle clubs that were leading this bike ride. It's so much fun. We've done it every year. And you meet a bunch of different people. Well, I was waiting for a drink at the bar, right? By myself. And, we're chatting up with and it's mainly men. Like there's a lot
Did
of
you get
there's-
hit on?
No, I don't think I was. I'll tell you the story. So I'm standing there. We're just all chit-chatting. And this guy, I totally remember his name, AJ. And he's part of one of the bicycle clubs. And we were just getting to know each other. He's like, who are you with? I said, I'm here with my husband. He's part of this bicycle club. He's like, thanks so much for coming out because they organized the bike ride. I'm like, yeah, we come every time. And so we're both waiting for the bartender to take notice of us. And he's like, what are you drinking? And I told him my drink, which you guys know what my drink is. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, if they come, I'll order you. I got your drink. I'll order it just to kind of, it did seem, let's just order our drinks and get them. Yeah. And I was like, okay, great. Thank you. Proper in my mind response. I'll get you next time. And I did. I thanked him for the drink. He got it. We cheered. I walked away. There was no expectation. And then when my drink was done, I went back in the bar and he was sitting talking with his friends. I'm like, are you ready for another? And he's like, I got to drive in a little bit. He's like, but thank you. And I said, well, next ride, I'll get you a drink. And he's like, thanks. I thought that is a very mature, rational, not creepy kind of response. Okay. But again, we weren't on a date. This woman has a viral post on Reddit. And here's the situation. Now, someone asked who on the date in the comments. She says, I was invited on a date. And he asked me, what's your favorite restaurant? My honest answer was, my favorite place is a bit much for a first date. But she did tell him about it because I thought he was
asked.
cool and truly loved the place. So I tell everybody about that place. So they'll go. And then she listed some more reasonable restaurants for a first date. Well, the guy ended up taking her to the expensive restaurant that she had mentioned. So she goes on to write, she said, we have apps, we have drinks, we have dinner, we have conversation, we have dessert. We have a good time from my perspective.
He really ordered the whole thing.
Right. But we ran up a serious bill. So but pay time comes. We do the check dance, sort of like, oh, separate checks. He also says separate checks. So cool. We're on the same page. Now, here's the thing. When the separate checks arrive, they both put their cards down. And when he saw her card, she felt like he was staring at it. And he says, it's not that I think he's some number savant where he was stealing my info. But he says, now I finally know your last name, which, of course, I didn't tell him before. It was the game he played. And then when the server came, her date gave her both bills and said he'd cover it all, which kind of frustrated her because they had agreed on separate checks. And so now she feels like this was a terrible test to see if she would pony up the $250, which was only half of the bill.
Wow.
Now, what do you think? Do you think that he was testing her, or do you think he was just kind of having a good time because they were getting along? I mean, my first instinct was like, you're overreacting. But then I was reading some of the comments in the Reddit. They're like, oh, no, he was totally testing you to see if you were one of those women that was a gold digger and, you know, wouldn't pay your half. And so then when you went through with trying to pay, he took care of it.
I think on a first date, you're overthinking everything. And it's a good thing that you do. But you're judging the person for every single, you know, little mannerism, little thing they do. Like, do I want to be with this person tonight? Or do I want to ever have a second date with them again? Or, you know, so everything is like on heightened alert, right? And so there's no room for, you know, oh, now I see your last name. That's creeper, right?
Oh, you do think that's creepy? Okay, I thought he was
that's
just kind of
creepy.
making. I think he was just making, you know, maybe he's
I'm
gonna look
like,
her up on social media. I don't know.
Now I'm thinking probably no second date for you, you creepy weirdo.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so that was my next question. Would you go out with this guy again? No?
I think if they'd agreed to pay separate checks, because it's awkward. That
But it was like right there they decided it. It's not like they decided it at the beginning.
The whole dance of the check and who's going to pay, it's awkward anyway. So if you have gotten to the point where you're like, you know, and it's not a weird discussion like, oh, I'll pay my half, you pay your half, we'll do separate checks, it's fine.
Right.
And that's kind of been decided. Don't do something weird. Either you're going to pay for it and fork over all the money, the $450 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you're going to do that. And it's going to be a nice thing. Like, you know, oh, no, this is on me. I've got it. Or you're not. But don't, you know, pussyfoot around with it. Forget that. No.
I love Neiman's comment. Heck no, I'm giving him my presents. He's paying.
That's just enough for me to go, no second date.
I would say this. As we were racking up the bill, I probably would have mentioned something like, you know what, we're splitting this because we're going all in. That's my personality. I've been like, oh, we're going big. We're ordering.
This is going to be a monster check, right?
Just to be clear, we're splitting it so that they know from the get-go. Now, if he's now, I'm going to be completely honest. If I say that, and then the bill comes, and he's like, I got it. The only words that are coming out of my mouth are thank you. Like, I don't understand this whole argument of like, I need to start paying things to I don't like that at all.
See,
no,
I have such a hard time with that. Like, your words would be thank you. Mine would be, really? Are you sure I can't help? Like, there's a couple more. Are you sure I can't help? Coming out of my mouth.
A little bit like that.
Yeah,
I probably would. I'd probably be like, are you sure? But then, thanks. I swear, people get themselves into so many awkward situations because they don't know how to say two freaking words. Thank and you. Thank you. Oh, that dress looks great. Oh, no. Blah, blah, blah. No, thank you. And move on. Like, take a freaking compliment, people. Take somebody's generosity. Say thank you, especially because now I'm going to add a big, huge caveat. If I wasn't hitting it off with this guy, right?
Yeah.
I might be like, no.
Nope. I'm paying my own way.
Not that I think that pay leads to expectations, but it could. And two,
and can you call me a cab?
Exactly. Like, I don't want to I don't want you to feel like, you know, you're paying all this money because you really like me and you want another date. I'm not feeling you. So you know what? Let's just split it. It was a great meal, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to make you go in the hole for this dinner when there is no chance I'm going out with you again.
True.
But
Unless it's been decided beforehand, then that gets
Right.
awkward.
Yeah.
I think the best way to do it, at least I have done it in this way in the past, is if you really want to pay for the meal, like maybe you're taking out a family member and you really
Right.
want to pay for the meal, I'll slip the
I've done that.
person my credit card ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, or
Or
I'll call
when I have
ahead
to go
and
to the
say,
bathroom real quick and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
let me pay the bill real quick.
and that just kind of takes away the whole, the weirdness. Like
It's already taken care of.
yeah, it's already taken care of. It's just done. And the
I love
person's like,
saying that
"What?"
anyway, though.
Yes.
It's already taken
Yeah.
care of.
Taken care of.
Yeah, it's definitely, as I've become an adult and we go out for dinner and things like that. It's definitely not that I could always afford to take 20 people out, but if it's just my parents and like my family, I'm like, yeah, we got it. Like you guys have paid for so many meals in my entire life. I can definitely cover it. Now, if you're going out to an expensive ass meal and it's, a ton of people, we might have to get separate checks here because I'm not covering the whole entire table. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like people get so sensitive about things and they ruin what could possibly be a love match, perhaps.
I had a really rich cousin. She was kind of more like an aunt than a cousin. And she left, she's passed away now. She left $1 million to the Contra Costa County Food Bank. Is that nice?
I thought you were going to say she left that to you. I was like, wow, okay.
But I took her out to lunch one time. She was old and kind of, hard to move around. And I took her out and I did that. I paid the bill ahead of time. And she was so shocked. She said, I don't remember the last time anyone ever took me out and paid for it. Because
Wow.
people, when you have a lot of money, people expect that you're just going to be the one to pay all the time. And it's this nice gesture to do for people, I think, anyway.
Yeah, no, you know what? I think that's an excellent point because you'll hear or read kind of online people bitching and moaning. Oh my God, so and so has so much money and they went around and they asked everybody to cover their own meal. It's like,
right.
And what do we always say? Rich people stay rich because they don't freaking cover the bill every freaking time.
They know how
right?
that's why, because they hoard every penny, right? Or in not in all cases, but
But you don't
careful.
frivolously spend money on things that other people can cover. If you want to go out to dinner, you shouldn't. And that's another reason as the Mega Millions didn't pop again, right? And people are thinking about it. It's like, this is where people get into trouble and think that winning a lot of money, let's say in a lottery, is a curse. It's because people come out of the woodwork. They think that you owe them money for something. Like,
that's right.
I'm your third cousin and we had Christmas together 15 years ago. What do you mean you're not want to invest in my fly-by-night company? It's it can get hard, right? And I just know that when the universe wants to bless me with $1 billion, I'm not going to tell anyone right away. Like, no. And then you get somebody to manage it and then they have to deal with it. Like, you don't want to have to deal with the awkwardness because obviously people can't even handle having an awkward conversation about splitting the damn bill, let alone what to do if you win something like the lottery. My husband bought a ticket. I never bought a ticket, but
I didn't either, but I'm going to this time. I'm going to.
I know. I always forget. Gordon says, go ahead.
Some women get insulted if the man wants the bill split in half.
I mean, I would never assume, like, okay, hold on. If a guy says, let me take you out to dinner, I would never assume that I was paying half of the bill. Right.
Yeah.
But if we're making kind of mutual plans, we walk by this restaurant, we're like, we should go there. And I'm like, yeah, we should go there. I could imagine me thinking that I would offer at least to split the bill. But, I feel like the pendulum can, for some people, swing so harshly. It's like, oh, my God. And can you imagine he thought he could pay the bill? Like, I'm not a woman with means and my own job. Like, I understand, the whole feminist attitude about it. Like, I have my own money. You could also keep some of your own money. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You're not any less of a feminist if you keep the money and let somebody else buy you dinner once in a while, as long as there's no assumption of sex or anything like that. Oh, I love you, Perry Joe. I pay the bill. I open the car door and the restaurant door. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I guess I'm old fashioned that way. And it doesn't mean that I don't think I can't do all those things by myself.
Of course.
It just says, I want to be with you. I want to, take care of you. I want to impress you. I want you to know that I
It's
want
not
to
an
be with you.
insult. It is
Yeah.
not an insult for someone
No.
to. I hold the door open for people if I get to it first.
Right.
It is not an
right.
insult. And I feel, and I don't want all the feminists to come after me. I'm just defining my own feminism. Okay. I'm not saying that you have to believe the same way that I do, but I feel like if this is the fight, this is the cross that you're, the knife that you're falling on, the sword that you're falling on is, oh my God, I am going to hold open the door and no man is going to hold it open for me because rah women. Okay. I have bigger battles to handle, like equal pay and reproductive rights and things like that. If the guy wants to hold the damn door open for me, you know what I say? 2 magic words: thank and you, and move on. And move on. It is
There's
not that
two
big of a
chats
deal.
that came in. Abby says, I think the person who planned the date should pay.
Oh, okay.
And Louise says, I'm not looking to go cheap, not to impress, but because I have to eat the food too. I'd rather pay a full check for Mastro's than half a bill at Sizzler.
Well, Sizzler sucks. Absolutely. Hands down. Yeah. It's just
Louise.
be kind. Be kind. And if you want to be generous and expect a thank you and nothing more. Debbie says, I think it's about manners too, holding doors and such. Absolutely. And my son does it for me. Like he'll run up and get the door and open it for me. And then I say, thank you, because that's what people that have manners say. Yeah. 2 magic words. Yes, exactly, Gordon. Thank and you. It's so people get in so much trouble because they just don't use them. Well, I want to say some thank yous, Kim McAllister, because everybody. Oh, will you put the link to Mark's show in the comments as well, Kim?
Oh, sure. I will.
So everybody come straight from this show and go to Mark Thompson for the next 2 hours. And then, of course, after Mark Thompson, visit Kim McAllister on the after party along with John Daly. And they're going to wrap up this fabulous day. Tomorrow, we're going to have a fun interview. I feel like I've confirmed it. I think it might be a little preliminary. But tomorrow, during our Friday food segment that we're still doing, I'm trying to get a hold of a woman who gave up her career in the corporate world, C-suite, to become a baker, an online baker. So I want to talk to her about that, why she chose to do that, how she's making that work. So that's coming up tomorrow. We have a bunch of stuff we didn't get to today as well. We were talking on Tuesday, I believe it was, about that beer company that's using recycled water. It's growing even more here in California, but they don't want you to call it toilet to tap because people like Kim McAllister get all icky about it. They don't want you to call it that. They're like, yep, not drinking.
No, thank you.
But what's interesting, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, is when you compare this water, it is so clean. And so people like Kim, no, you're wrong.
Really?
You're wrong because because of everything they do to it, it's so clean. But you have to deal with the mindset of people like Kim McAllister who are like, nope, I'm not drinking toilet water. People poop in that water. It's not happening. See?
No.
I know what Kim's thinking. I think. All right. Super chat. Thank you so much to people that donated. Harry with the $5 super sticker, and then SF Bay Playway $10 donation and another $5 donation. You guys can donate even if you watch the show on replay. We really appreciate it. Number one ways you can support the show to make sure we're here every morning is by becoming a monthly subscriber to our Patreon. Just go to NikkiMedoroShow.com. Our Patreon link is right there. You could donate any amount. And if you could afford a little bit more and bump it up every month, we would appreciate that as well. I thank you. And of course, the PayPal links are there. The merchandise shop is there. And yeah, we really, really do appreciate it. Okay. Big show on Friday. Head to Mark Thompson and then the after party as well. And we'll talk tomorrow. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.